Year 5, Miss Warren here. Hope you're well. Today I'm going to be reading you the 19th and 20th chapter of Fing by David Walliams. Now, as usual, what I'd like to do is identify any new and exciting words and define them, and see if you can use them in your writing for this week as well. Okay, let's get into it.
Chapter 19, Flying Sausage. No, the deadliest animal in the world was not Myrtle. But as Mr. Meek was racing towards certain doom, his thoughts did flash to his daughter. In his mind's eye, he wanted to conjure up a pretty picture of her before he died. Although, however hard he tried, he just couldn't find an image of Myrtle doing anything remotely nice. Myrtle didn't do nice. She was very good at nasty. All kinds of images flooded into Mr. Meek's mind. Myrtle snapping the Christmas tree in half when she didn't get enough presents. Myrtle stamping on the snakes and ladders board when she was losing the game. Myrtle shoving her entire birthday cake into her gob in one go so no one else could have a piece. Myrtle punching a hole through the television set when her favourite cartoon ended. Myrtle cheating on school sports day by making her mother drive her round the racetrack. Faster, faster! Myrtle deliberately flooding the entire house when asked to hurry up in the bath. Myrtle eating all her mother and father's books when they encouraged her to read one. Myrtle holding her hamster upside down and giving him a bog wash when she was given a detention for giving her teacher a bog wash. Myrtle setting up a stall outside the house to sell every single one of her parents' possessions so she could buy herself a roller coaster. Myrtle wailing so much for a Mr. Whippy that the ice cream van actually toppled over onto its side. No, the deadliest animal in the world is not Myrtle. It is a hellephant. Wings for balance, extra long trunk that works as a propeller, landing gear, feet, tail or rudder for steering left and right. This is, quite simply, a flying elephant. How does it fly? With its trunk, of course. I thought that would be obvious. If you had studied the Monsterpedia, you would know. The hellephant's trunk is unusually long. When the animal spins it round fast enough, it works exactly like a propeller. What could be more dangerous than a flying elephant? Nothing. If it crash lands on you, you are jam. On hearing father's shout, the hellephant woke up with a humph from the riverbank where it was slumbering. Elephants always wake up with a humph because however much sleep they have, it's never enough. Once a elephant slept for 17 years and still woke up in a foul mood. On being woken up, the animal wanted revenge. So, with a spin of its trunk, it took to the sky. How does a elephant steer? With its tail, of course. The tail works as a rudder. Come on, this couldn't be more straightforward. Mr. Meek heard a loud buzzing from above. A shadow passed over him. He looked up and saw a huge, fat, flying sausage soaring through the sky, blotting out the sun. Oh! But before Mr. Meek could say cripes, the hellephant hooked him up by his trousers with one of its tusks, giving him a nasty wedgie. No wedgies are nice, but, even by the standards of nasty wedgies, this was a particularly vicious one. "Shantissimo!" cried Mr. Meek, as he was plucked from the back of the honkopotamus and whisked up into the air. The Monsterpedia wriggled around in the back of his trousers in an attempt to escape. Meanwhile, the Fing simply bit harder onto his finger, closing its one eye in concentration. Boom-ditty, boom-ditty, boom-boom! The pain was indescribable, so I won't even try, other than to call it indescribable. "Let me go!" screamed Mr. Meek to the hellephant. Then he looked below him. It was a long way down. "Actually, keep holding on to me, please. Thank you so much." Chapter 20, Fury Finger Warmer. With its trunk whirling like a propeller, the hellephant soared above the clouds. It was bitterly cold all the way up there, where the sky meets outer space. Mr. Meek found himself covered in a light dusting of ice, like a lolly fresh out of the freezer. He looked down at his finger. To his unsurprise, yes, that is a real word too, clever clogs. Just check the Walliams dictionary. The Fing was still very much attached to it. Its one eye was blinking due to the cold. Despite the pain, which, as previously described, was indescribable, it was at least the one part of Mr. Meek's body that was not freezing. The Fing was a fury finger warmer. The only problem was that you couldn't take it off. Now hundreds of miles from where it lived, the hellephant was ready to take revenge and drop its load. In an instant, Mr. Meek's trousers became unhooked from the tusk. "Ah!" he screamed as he tumbled through the sky. "Hooby, hooby," cried the hellephant. If Mr. Meek didn't act fast, he would be nothing more than a splattering of bolognese sauce on the ground. If only he had a parachute. Mr. Meek looked at the round furry thing still attached to his finger. He had an idea so utterly preposterous that it might just work. According to the Monsterpedia, things could vary dramatically in size. Sometimes they were as small as a marble, other times the size of a hot air balloon. With this in mind, as Mr. Meek was plummeting towards the ground, he began blowing air into the other end of Fing as quickly as he could. The Fing's eyes flickered. Whatever was the man doing? Just like a lilo, the creature began to inflate. Soon it was the size of a football, then a beach ball, and then Mr. Meek used every last bit of puff he had. The Fing was now 100 times or more its original size. Not only was it as big as a hot air balloon, it worked like one too. Now, instead of falling, Mr. Meek was floating up, up, and away. "I am flying!" he exclaimed.